Should Kenya take charge in Haiti? A controversial decision to send 1,000 Kenyan police to the gang-ridden Caribbean nation remains on hold, but many Kenyans want it canceled. Would taking the lead in an international mission boost the country's credentials or put Kenyan lives at risk for questionable return? I'm Andrea Sanke, and today's Newsmaker is Kenya's mission to Haiti. Well, Kenyan troops have participated in multiple international peacekeeping missions before, but sending 1,000 police officers on a mission to Haiti is a first. And many Kenyans aren't happy about it. The government of President William Ruto says it is a moral obligation to help their friends where Western-led assistance has failed. But will Kenyan police really be able to calm a country controlled by gangs? And if it happens, what would Kenya get out of it? Here's a look.
As Haiti spirals further into chaos, a Kenyan mission tasked with restoring order is in question. Last year, Kenya agreed to lead a UN Security Council-backed multinational force. About 1,000 police officers would train the Haitian police and help them restore stability. But Nairobi's plan has faced numerous challenges at home.
You cannot use our police women and men as guinea pigs at the altar of rent-seeking, because we know for sure that the motivation for this misadventure is money.
In January, the High Court ruled against the mission, saying the Parliament can only approve the troop deployment, not the police.
Any further action or steps taken by any state organ or state officer in furtherance of such a decision contravenes the Constitution and the law and is therefore unconstitutional, illegal, and invalid.
And the Kenyan public is also wary of any deployment, given the ongoing anarchy in Haiti.
Haiti has no government, it has no structure, so it's not advisable, as let's say, like, if our government really cares for our people, they won't even consider doing that.
Yet despite public and legal woes, Kenya and Haiti signed a reciprocal agreement in March to deploy a police contingent. Hosting Haiti's Ariel Henry for the ceremony, President William Ruto said the deployment is a historic duty.
The importance, significance, and urgency of this mission cannot be overstated. It is a mission for humanity. It is a mission in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Haiti.
In the last 35 years, Kenyan troops have contributed to more than 20 UN peacekeeping missions, including in the former Yugoslavia, Cambodia, Iraq, and Mali. But this would be the first time the national police is deployed to a foreign nation, and most likely the hardest mission. Rights groups have also raised concerns over the Kenyan police's record of alleged human rights abuses.
The history of the police force in the last police service in the last 2 years has been essentially quite brutal, and the concern has been that we would be exporting officers and a culture that has left many up to 60 people dead in the last 1 year from violent policing of protests.
Haitians are justifiably wary of foreign intervention thanks to their painful past experiences. A 13-year UN mission there was ended in 2017, marred by accusations of rampant sexual abuse. And on top of that, a sewage leak from a UN base led to a cholera outbreak that killed thousands of Haitians. And now, the Haitians say they want to decide their own future. But with gangs in control of 80% of the capital Port-au-Prince and no democratic path in sight, that future seems uncertain.
So, could a Kenyan police force really help Haiti, and at what cost? Well, joining me now to debate that and more are from Nairobi, communications strategist Mark Bichachi. Also in the Kenyan capital is Philip Etale, communications director at the Orange Democratic Movement. And from Boston, lawyer and board member at the Institute for Justice and Peace in Haiti, Brian Concannon. Thanks all so much for being with me. Mark, I'll start with you. As mentioned before, the mission is on hold pending the formation of a transitional government. remains to be seen if that government will actually be formed. But President Ruto wants this done, and you agree with him. So tell us why sending its own police forces to Haiti would be a good thing for Kenya to do.
Well, first and foremost, this will not be the first time that the Kenyan police are being deployed in such a mission. Kenya has a history of having served in different missions for over in over 16 countries, and throughout our history over 60 years now. What that means is that Kenya is ready and capable to help fellow Africans. We need to remember that the nation of Haiti has in the past applied for being a member of the African Union. So we do consider them our brothers and our sisters. Thirdly, this is a humanitarian issue. Kenya is known to have sent troops to Somalia and has recently helped the Democratic Republic of Congo. So this is not something that is outside of the scope of what Kenya needs to do. And thirdly, as recent members of the Security Council, Kenya is fully aware of the risks and also the necessity of stepping in and helping the people of Haiti, not as the way the Americans and the French have done so in the past, in a way where they were taking advantage of Haiti and taking advantage of the situation in Haiti, but as a nation that can be trusted, one, not to be exploiting the resources within Haiti, and two, as people who share a common African background and should be there for each other.
So help me understand then what you think Kenyans really would be able to do that the other forces have not been able to achieve? Because it wasn't just, France or the United States that tried to lead missions there. Brazil had a very large contingent for quite some time, yes. And that didn't go very well either. Haiti still is in the state it is in. And meanwhile, you have Kenyans saying, we have no business being there.
Well, it is true that many Kenyans have expressed the idea that they do not want to see themselves inside Haiti through their police forces. But it is also true that this particular contingent and the way Kenya was going to approach it was going to be different, in the sense that this was a mission to help build the capacity of the police and build the capacity of local enforcement, to train them, to also use police intelligence and criminal intelligence to infiltrate the gangs and dismantle the gangs, something that the Kenyan police has successfully done within our own boundaries with such gangs as Mungiki and others which were troubling our nation. So this is not something new for us. Thirdly, we are not planning to send our regular police forces there. There is a specific unit, actually 4 units, that have been working closely with the army in the border in Kenya, in Somalia, and also working today and quelling the cattle rustlers within our own borders. So these are police with experience. We are also going to use criminal intelligence as well as develop Haitian capacity, which is why we are deploying the police and not them.
Okay, let me turn to Philip. Philip, are you convinced that specifically Kenyan police forces can make a fundamental difference on the ground in Haiti, and that Haiti deserves the help of Kenya?
First and foremost, I've never wished to contradict my brother Mark on such matters. But on this one, I want to say, I think this is a poignant decision that the Kenyan government has made to send our police officers into Port-au-Prince in the name of restoring peace and order in that country. Well, I want to state something here that perhaps many people have been trying to ask. What are these police officers going to do different from what they have done here in Kenya locally? As we speak, in the north rift part of this country, bandits are causing havoc, killing, maiming, and displacing people. Yet we have a police force that is claimed to be well equipped and ready to handle gangs like the G9 led by Jimmy Cherizian, aka Barbecue. We have another one called Gabriel Jean-Pierre leading the GPEP. And these are rival gangs in Port-au-Prince who have now ganged up to try and combat any foreign intervention that could be sent to Haiti. I believe this is not just about police officers restoring order in Haiti. It's about people trying to enrich themselves financially. And if the $300 million that the U.S. government has promised to give Kenya is given to the government of Kenya, is it going to equip the the National Police Service in Kenya? Is it going to improve the lives and the welfare of the police officers in Kenya who live in dilapidated houses? You know, a police force that cannot even handle bandits locally, people who are killing. A school was torched in a place called Kerio Valley in North Rift. And so far, no police officer has, police forces have not been deployed there to deal with those bandits. Yet we want to take them to Haiti to deal with gangs who have caused havoc in Port-au-Prince and even killed the president of that country.
Point taken. Mark, I'll let you respond quickly as to why you think Kenyan police forces can do in Haiti what they can't seem to do in Kenya, according to Philip.
Let's take the example of terror attacks in this country and how far they've reduced in the last 10 to 15 years. Let's look at the same Kerio Valley that he's talking about and look at how much the banditry has reduced. Yes, the police force has not managed to quell all the banditry, but it has made significant gains. In fact, they dismantled an Al-Shabaab gang that was trying to put IEDs across Lamu. So in as much as we want to talk about Kenya as though our police force has failed, we also need to give our men and women in uniform the privilege of accepting that they've actually done a good job. We live in a city which is by and large pretty safe from terrorism, from the same bandits that would want to attack us. The United States and every other country has problems and has never stopped Kenyans from helping people. When we went to Yugoslavia, we still had the same problems. We went to Sierra Leone, we still had these problems.
Okay. You know what? I'll tell you what. Let me get Brian into the conversation. Brian, I apologize. It's been a minute or two. But first, I have to ask you, because this is your area of specialization, do Haitians actually want this? Do they specifically want these Kenyan police forces there, especially since there has been a reputation for certain human rights abuses? And do you think, personally, that Kenyan police forces can make a difference to the turmoil in the landscape in Haiti?
Well, many Haitians believe that some international help is necessary in the current situation. Some think not. But almost all Haitian organizations who have opined on this have insisted they do not want the mission as it's currently designed. Now, Mark made a great case on the idealistic case of how Kenya can help Haiti. The problem is that's not the plan. The plan is, in the words of UN Secretary General Guterres, is to use a robust use of offensive force. What the plan is for Kenyans to go into neighborhoods, because when Kenyan troops land, the gangs are going to go back into the neighborhoods they control, where they have some support, and in order to go after them, the Kenyan police officers are going to have to go into those neighborhoods shooting, and they're going to execute some suspected gang members. They're also going to execute children, women, innocent bystanders. And the Kenyan team, exploratory team back in August, realized this. As soon as they landed in Haiti, they said, we're not going to do this robust use of force. We're going to do something more measured, like protect infrastructure and train the Haitian police. But the U.S. said, no, that's not the job. And it's important to note that nobody wants to touch this. Everybody wants to blame, wants Kenya to do the U.S.'s dirty work and take the blame for it. This is a UN authorized mission, but the Security Council made sure that it was not a UN mission, so the UN cannot be accountable. The U.S. wants this mission and has wanted it for over a year. It has not allowed one U.S. soldier to be part of it. Canada, CARICOM, Brazil were all asked to lead the mission. They refused because they know what it's going to do.
Okay, Philip, let me come back to you then, because, those who criticize this mission say Kenya is in part working at the behest of the United States anyway, and that the only ones that would benefit from this mission in Kenya are the politicians that will receive payment for it. not the forces that are going to have to go into those areas and potentially fire even on innocent people and have to come back with all the trauma associated with that. Is that what you see?
Yeah, first, the High Court made a ruling on this particular matter. It said this is unconstitutional. Then when the government, we are ruled by a government that thrives on propaganda and use of PR to try and entice Kenyans and feed them with lies. The government decided that now that the courts have stopped this mission and we really need this money so badly and we want our troops to go to Haiti, they decided to go the parliament way. And in Kenyan parliament, the government side has the majority. And the MPs on the government side have been reduced to rubber stampers. Anything that the government presents before that house has to pass, because they're always told you have to pass this bill or this motion whether you like it or not, which is not the core reason they were elected to go to that legislative assembly. Anyway, now that it has been passed by Parliament and approved that the Kenyan troops should go to Haiti, the question Kenyans are asking, who has carried out reconnaissance in that country? Because you were told by the president that reconnaissance has already been done, they know the terrain. Who went there? Who did it? Who carried out that reconnaissance? Now, another thing that Kenyans are asking, when the former Prime Minister of Haiti, Ariel Henry, came to Kenya, him and our president signed an agreement that these troops should be deployed as soon as possible. 2 days after that, the Prime Minister, or President in quotes, could not even land in Port-au-Prince because the gangs made it difficult for him to land because they had given him conditions. If you land here, we are going to deal with you. He was forced to resign. Haiti currently doesn't have a government. Who is going to receive these troops when they land in Haiti? Who is going to take them round to ensure that they are safe and that they can carry out their mandate without the interference of these gangs that are marauding in Port-au-Prince? Mark, let me finish. Now, when these troops land in Haiti, of course, that money is going to come to Kenya. I posed this question from when I started this conversation. How is this money going to be spent? Is it going to improve the livelihoods of these police officers? Because the Kenyan police are ill-equipped.
You did mention, yes, they don't live in the best conditions necessarily. And I'd like to get Mark to actually respond to that and the other things I saw you disagree with. Go ahead.
First and foremost, I think it is frankly ridiculous to imagine that the Kenyan police is going to leave Kenya and go to Haiti, and it's going to take over the streets of Haiti and murder and do extrajudicial killings. Not at all. That is not what Kenya has been known for. We've never been accused in over 16 different countries where we've sent our police officers and our army officers. We have never been involved in such atrocities, and I think, quite frankly, it is unfair to do so. Secondly, in all of those 16 different missions, did the police officers and the army officers receive extra payment and receive better payment for being deployed outside the borders of our country? I'll tell you, yes. That is true, not so far behind us. Last year, when we left the Congo, those army and police officers can testify that they received their requisite payment that is above and beyond what is in the country. Thirdly, making the point that Ariel Henry could not return home is not a point against helping Haiti. It is a point for helping Haiti. It is a point to say that that country has been overrun by gangsters, and gangsters are not an army problem. They are a police problem. And yes, Kenya has sent reconnaissance to Haiti, and we know because the good doctor here from the United States can confirm that they did give feedback and say this is not about going in there and acting as though it is a war zone and going to murder people. That is not the state of where the security forces are at. They are at a point where they're saying they need to build the capacity of the locals, they need to use criminal intelligence, and they need to be sure that they build the capacity and the hope of the Haitian people on the mission. It is not go in there gang-ho kind of battle.
Let me come back to Brian. Brian, I'd like to get kind of a bigger picture question then in here now, because this mission is supposed to begin once a transitional government is formed. Like I said at the beginning, we don't know when that will happen, if it will even happen. So what is your instinct telling you now, knowing what you know about Haiti's history and these missions? Will this mission actually happen? Will it be carried out? Will Kenyan police forces end up on the ground in Haiti?
That's a really good question. It's not going to come as soon as the government is formed. It's possible that you'll have a government today. You're not going to have the Kenyan police on the ground in the month of April, probably not the month of May. Just last week, the State Department, U.S. State Department, said that it had only had a single 33-page document that talks about what the mission is actually going to do. Yesterday, Canada announced that it was going to create training modules for the mission. So this is really in the early stages, and it's not going to be an imminent solution. And I'd like to respond to Mark's pushback against what I said. I'm not accusing Kenyan troops of being more likely to commit atrocities. I'm saying that's the job they've been given. Robust use of offensive force is not my word, it's the Secretary General's words. And if you take the previous mission, they had the similar situation where the gangs went back into the neighborhoods, and the Brazilian general who's heading it complained publicly that he was being pressured to go into neighborhoods and shoot people. He didn't like to do that, but he eventually did it. In just one massacre called the City Soleil massacre, the UN troops fired over 24,000 bullets in one-day operation. They killed dozens of innocent civilians. And, Kenyans may go into this with the best of intentions, but the job they're being given is to do these attacks in poor neighborhoods, and there's not going to be any way about it. Just, another example, just early in March, the Kenyans said, well, the Kenyan Foreign Ministry issued a press release saying, we're going to put this mission on hold because there's no government to work with. The next day, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken called President Ruto, and President Ruto was forced to say, no, we're going full steam ahead. So, despite the best intentions of Kenyans, they're being told to do a job, and they're going to be under immense pressure to do it. And it's a very dirty job.
And Philip, is that what worries you the most about your boys, your own police forces being thrown into the fire in Haiti? Because the mission, as stated, and as Brian was explaining, is brutal.
That's my point, because, the question I want to pose here is this multinational security mission going to be a peacekeeping mission, which Kenya has been involved in the past, or is it going to be a combat mission? The answer is it's going to be brutal. In the words of the Secretary General of the UN, they have to use every force to ensure that these gangs are extinct. Now, if our police officers go there and Mark says that they are going to switch talk, they're not going to kiss these gangs. The gangs are not going to give them cookies. It's going to be a brutal, and it's going to be a very comparative sort of engagement between the Kenya police and these gangs. And these gangs, as we've been told, I've been reading journals by journalists in Haiti and even in the US, that these gangs have superior equipment. And if Mark says that these guys are just going there to talk to them, dissuade them from what they're doing, then we are missing the point. Kenyan police officers cannot be used as guinea pigs. We have to rethink this decision that you have made, and it is in the interest of the Kenyan public that our police officers should be treated fairly in this. In any case, if we wanted a mission to Haiti, we have the Kenya Defense Forces. They have been tried and tested in other countries, East Timor, in Sierra Leone, in DRC, in Yugoslavia. They can go there and deal with those gangs. But sending police officers, I think it's not the right decision that Kenyan government has made since they came to power in 2022.
Mark, I can give you 45 seconds to respond. Go ahead.
Well, my response is one that Haiti does need help, and Kenya is willing to help, and that is a noble cause that cannot be understated. Secondly, we are not sending regular police. The Kenyan contingent that is headed there is a paramilitary unit that is known worldwide, having been trained efficiently for it. Thirdly, this is not a grab at Kenya in terms of trying to go and just commit atrocities or even fight these people. This is a multi-pronged approach. Kenya is fully aware that it needs to work with the societies. It needs to rehabilitate the young people who become gangsters. It needs to create systems where the Haitian police can come and take over. It is not a bullet-for-bullet engagement. Kenya is not walking into this without the intellectual framework to know that what is needed in Haiti is not bullets. It is about creating structures and rehabilitating these gangsters into Haitian society.
Okay, Mark, that will have to be the final word for this edition of the Newsmakers. Really a fascinating discussion. I'd like to thank all three of my panelists so much for being with me, and our viewers, of course, for joining us as well. Remember, you can follow us on X, and do be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Andrea Sanke. We'll see you next time.